Did you want to just walk through all of it, or do you want to start with more or less where my video started?
Um, well, let's just do a little bit of an intro.
Sounds good.
For now. Hi everybody. I'm joined by my friend Wild Smile, who I found he has not even been YouTubing as long as I have. He's been doing it a few, probably like maybe even like 6 months less than I have. How long have you been YouTubing?
Since September. I didn't really get serious until December, but
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I guess about 3 months, 3 or 4 months less than I have, and you've already surpassed me in subscribers. You have around 11,000, and I just recently hit 10,000. So, congratulations, go fuck yourself.
thank you.
But
Thank you.
um, I found you when you had less than like 500 or so, and I
I
was like,
believe
oh,
so, yes.
oh,
I
this
remember
person.
the video you commented on too, because it was one of the videos I was most proud of when I put it out. I'm like, this is because I actually wrote a script for it for the first time. That was like one of my first ones that I wrote a script for. And it's not always the way I go, but sometimes it helps to kind of put out your thoughts on paper.
Mm. Yeah, well, I thought you were cool,
And you got dropped. Yellow. I'm gonna have to hit him up on Twitter. How's everyone else? How's chat? I don't have chat up. There's 3 viewers. How you guys doing? Press 1 for tits. What's up, Kylan? How you doing, man? I'm gonna try to get him back on. I'm gonna go ahead and message him on Twitter.
okay.
You
Can
there?
you hear me?
I can. Yes.
Okay, cool. I had to switch Wi-Fi. Anyway, so
Fair.
um, I have been starting to watch your videos more or less religiously because, for whatever fucking reason, you and I are into the same things. Like the
Mhm.
same things in the news interest us, except for I would say that you are a little bit more of a news channel where you find stories and you read through the text of the story out loud and then give your commentary, not unlike Sargon.
I don't know what happened. There was a point in my channel where suddenly I was almost, I don't, like, dare I say, journalism. I was telling someone, I'm like, I think I'm a fucking citizen journalist now. I somehow evolved from a troll to a citizen journalist like overnight. I don't know what happened.
Well, it's good for me because I like your commentary and it's a good way for me to get a digestible version of the news so that because you're looking into the same type of things that I would be looking into if I was doing that direction or whatever. I feel like I have a particular niche on YouTube, so
Yeah.
I do it. So yeah, you have been looking into the Seth Rich conspiracy theory quite well, as far as I can say.
It's
Tell.
crazy how much stuff keeps coming up. I keep thinking, like, I'm done with this. I've finished everything I can talk to about this. I've completed it. And then suddenly, almost like DLC, there's like, oh, now we have some more stuff. And if it was small enough, I would just ignore it. But a lot of it is enough to get the little brain jogging. It's pretty crazy. I didn't think I was going to be like into this, but yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's certainly like a lot of smoke that does not seem to be going away, I guess is the best way to sort of say, when the people say when there's smoke there's fire, and it's like, and when the smoke continues and continues and continues, like
Yeah, there's something to this, and people know it. The first little bit of like hypocrisy that I came across, so it was how many, like 2 or 3 days into the when it blew back up, and the family supposedly came forward and said, please stop talking about our dead kid. And it just seems odd to me, and I think a lot of people felt the same way. And it turns out that wasn't even them making that official announcement. That was someone who coincidentally is a crisis PR manager for the DNC, speaking on their behalf because he was assigned to talk to them. Like every time you get a little bit of a detail, you're like, okay, that's even way more fucking suspicious than it already was. It's in their attempts to kind of sweep it under the rug, actually make it worse. Like they could have left this thing alone and people probably would have forgot about it.
yeah, that's interesting. So you just You just had a video that was really long.
Yeah, dude, it took me 3 fucking hours last night, man.
Yeah, it ended up being like half-hour long video, and I watched the whole thing today, and I couldn't entirely follow it. And that was one of the reasons I wanted you to talk to you about this,
Cool. It's
because
probably for the better.
well,
It's likely that you weren't the only person left with kind of not sure what I was saying. So it took me doing the whole video and then thinking about it when I woke up to kind of get a full grasp of it, because it's a bit out there, but it's more or less one pretty simple idea, but it's just very loosely spread out in jargon, and it's hard to kind of put it together.
yeah, well, so long story short, what the video is that there's some evidence or theory that came out. I don't know where this evidence is, where you found this exactly. I wasn't paying close enough attention to know where this came from, but they're saying, some people are saying that the Democratic Party leaked themselves and tried to make it look like it was Russia, but it is pretty transparent. And then somehow that's still related to Seth Rich, because maybe he knew that they did that or
Right.
something.
Like, it wasn't to shut him up. It was more or less to cover their tracks. It's very likely he didn't even know about it.
Yeah, so maybe he wasn't the leaker.
It's entirely possible. Hey, it could have literally been anyone in this. He happened to have seemed like the most likely person. There's so many different ways of, because unfortunately, when you have only a conclusion you want to come to, you kind of interpret all of the evidence to come to that conclusion. It's hard to kind of dismiss your bias, but yeah, I forgot what I was going to say before that. Sorry.
No worries.
Oh, I remembered. So usually, and this happens when, and I've seen this even in television shows, it seems like a pretty popular idea, when you have someone you distrust or hate or is a rival has incriminating, embarrassing information about you. The way you think about Cartman, taking a picture with his dick in Butters' mouth, right, from South Park. It's sort of the same deal. I won't let that smug son of a bitch take the satisfaction. I can purposely show them myself and then give the first impression, have the control over the first impression, right? Sort of, but I kind of phrased that badly, but the idea that if somebody knows something about you, it's better to hear it from the original person than from a third party.
Oh, it's kind of like I just made a video about this actually a few days ago called "Denial by Proclamation," and it's a kind of a way of I mean, tell me if this is what you're talking about. In Anita Sarkeesian was the perfect example of this. When it was very clear, like when she was being exposed all over YouTube for, being a con artist and, not really a gamer and not even really a feminist, because she admitted that she wasn't always a feminist. And she called herself an egalitarian. She ended up speaking during the period of major heat of Gamergate at this festival called the XOXO Festival in Portland, and she went up on stage and said exactly what was true about her that was bad. Like, she was like, there's some conspiracy theories floating around about me. Like, there's one that I am a African and I bleach my skin and I blah 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 or something like weird shit. And then the next thing she says, the other conspiracy theory about me is that I'm not a real gamer and I'm not even really a feminist. I'm a con artist that orchestrates her own harassment and blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, that's exactly what you do. Like, like, and
Yeah.
but it's like, if
for a second, I'm gonna have to jump out and rejoin the call so I can set up my headphones.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
There's some bleed through, or although it might be on your end, but I think it's on my end.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, it worked. I didn't have to jump out.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, in Anita Sarkeesian's case with that specific thing was that, she was denying that the truth was the truth by telling exactly the bad thing that she was doing, and then basically saying like, isn't it absurd? Oh my god. And it's like, yeah, but that's exactly what you are actually doing.
It looks like I am going to have to jump out real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. So, hi chat, how are you doing? Anybody have anything to say? So I just made this video that's like a troll video that is on my friend the Common Neffels channel. If you guys want to watch it, I was afraid of putting it up on my channel because I was afraid that I might get a community strike. So I'm gonna put it in the chat so you guys can watch it. And I'm actually gonna play it on this stream at some point probably, because it's only 3 or 4 minutes long and I think it's kind of funny. Hi, you're back.
I am back. Yes.
God damn it.
There might be some bleed through on your end though from outside audio. That's what my chat's saying.
From outside audio?
He's muted.
I'm muted. No, I'm not.
Yeah, right? Like I'm talking to you now. Okay, it's probably needs to catch up.
Huh. Well, let me just make sure I can hear myself. Yeah, I can hear myself through my video. I think something is, I don't know.
All right, no, I figured out what the problem was. I have OBS.
Yeah?
There's such a delay. It's crazy.
So, I don't know, like, do you understand what I was saying about the denial by proclamation thing? Is that similar to what you're talking about?
Denial of proclamation?
Denial by proclamation, where somebody, if somebody knows that somebody's going to make an accusation,
okay.
They like let's say somebody really did kill his wife. And they're like, okay, people are going to figure this out. And so he tells his best friend, oh my God, people are saying that I killed my wife, blah, 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 blah. And he's preemptively telling, and he's assuming that if he tells his friend this first, he'll just believe him, And so by the time somebody else makes the accusation, it'll sound absurd because he already told his friend, oh, people are going to say that I killed my wife. Does that have to do with what you're talking about with the Seth Rich thing?
I think it was kind of an analogy. Like I was using that whole idea of purposefully leaking the information first, so you can kind of have control over the first impression and how the information is put out to the masses.
Okay. Yeah, it's different. It's different. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
Oh no, you weren't.
Okay. So yeah, it's so strange. I've been starting to wonder, and this is all conspiracy theories, like all of this stuff. I've been starting to wonder, did the Democratic Party just kind of know that they were actually going to lose the election the whole time anyway?
That's entirely possible. I mean, I wonder a lot of times, how do you get Donald Trump in the White House? Suppose he bought his way in there. I mean, this is a conspiracy theory. I actually rather like Donald Trump more and more each day. Like they showed that picture of him or that footage of him butting past a NATO executive, and then he stands forward and just fixes his coat. It's like, man, that made me like him even more, even though I know it was supposed to have the opposite effect. But I like Trump. But I sometimes wonder, well, how would you elect Donald Trump? You would have to put somebody like Hillary Clinton to run against him. If Bernie Sanders would have ran, I think it's undisputable he would have won. And I actually really don't like Bernie Sanders anymore. I used to. But I know there are a lot of people who really like what he has to say. And I actually do think he's probably, in a lot of ways, probably more qualified.
Yeah. I think that the main problem with Bernie Sanders is his entire premise is sort of built around American economic narcissism.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh well, we're the richest and most powerful nation in the world. We have enough to go around. Well, no, actually, we're kind of doing shit right now. Like, we're not doing well, and his policies would totally bankrupt us, and it would have just but ultimately I believed that it could work when it was when he was first campaigning. It took me a very long time to actually really like look into numbers a little bit better. But so okay. With Donald Trump, there was definitely I would always make the joke. It was like maybe Hillary Clinton was put in the race to make Donald Trump win, which you kind of alluded to. But the other thing is, it's like it was so absurd the way that the media was acting like Hillary Clinton was so definitely going to win. Like they were so absurd about it,
and it's tempting fate.
Yeah.
They were going out there, standing underneath a falling chandelier, going, "What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen?" Over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, if you're really gonna look into like massive media manipulation, it's like, is the entire establishment as stupid as they are trying to get us to think that they are?
Hey, there is that classic move. It's like a chess thing. You make your opponent think that you're a moron, so that way when it comes time later on, that they will underestimate you and you can just wipe the floor with them. Are they trying to do the same thing? I do wonder about that sometimes.
Absolutely. It would make perfect sense. I mean, because it's like, no, they can't be that fucking like they've been so wrong about everything for a while. So I don't know. It's weird. But like, okay, so Seth Rich, and like, why it's so confusing why the DNC would leak the shit themselves and then try to make it look like the Rush. Like, I guess I do.
Well, maybe it was a backup plan. They wouldn't have said anything about it if they lost. But if they won, they could use this to delegitimize Donald Trump's victory. Just like when they had some fucking washed-up congressman go up and, I think Donald Trump is an unlegitimate president. And like it felt like they were feeding him lines. It really did.
Yeah.
John Lewis, that's the name of that fucking prick. He's a liar. There was actually, he said, I think when the Tea Party was going around, that people were calling him the N-word. And this was back when Andrew Breitbart was alive. And Andrew Breitbart was just like, yeah, I actually have 4 different cameras recording what you walking through peacefully through the crowd and no one said anything. I'll give you $100,000 if you can sit through a lie detector test, and I'll donate it to the United Negroes College Fund or whatever it is. So yeah, fuck John Lewis is what I'm basically saying. He's a liar and a crook and an asshole.
Yeah, okay, so wait, I sort of forget what I was saying.
Sorry, I went off on a long
tangent. No, it's okay. Like, okay. So I think maybe the thing is, by the time the stuff was released and they tried to blame it on Russia, I think that the general public already felt that Hillary Clinton had robbed Bernie Sanders of the nomination.
I think that was the general consensus, yeah.
Because, I mean, I was feeling like that in 2015. Like by the end of 2015, I was basically saying, you know what? No, they're gonna rob Sanders. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that everybody would prefer him, but they're gonna steal it from him. And I knew that. And I don't think that anybody who was slightly intelligent, who was also unbiased, would have come to that conclusion already anyway. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can see what you're saying about releasing the information so that they can control the narrative. That would make sense. But it's still weird. It's the motive, the exact motive for what would, why did Seth Rich die? And that's the $1 million question.
I think there's, at least in my opinion, 3 main scenarios. The first one is that everything we've heard is true, but everything is just made to look really suspicious because everyone trying to cover their tracks just in case they were tied up to it. And it just made them look even worse. That's the first scenario. Second scenario is he was directly assassinated to keep him either as to set an example. My phone's ringing. It's the FBI. Hello? Hello? Anyway, we're good. We're good.
Was it heavy breathing?
The call was gone when I put it to my ear. I'm gonna try to call the bitch back. Hold on. And yeah, that bitch is my woman, but she's my bitch. She's my bottom hoe. I just wanted to say that.
Your bottom hoe.
My bottom bitch. You never heard?
I don't even know what that means.
Your bottom bitch is your fucking woman. Like, you're a pimp, right? And your bottom bitch is the chick that like does everything for you. She keeps the other bitches in line. She takes care of you. She, you know, all that type of stuff. She's essentially a pimp's wife without having.
Huh.
But yeah, I was referring to my fiance. But god damn it, she's actually calling. Son of, I'm so sorry.
It's fine. I'm gonna take a shot of whiskey.
Hey, I figured you were calling.
Oh, here, could you mute yourself and I'll play the video for everybody because I want to. Okay.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm gonna mute you. Okay, I'm muting him, and I'm gonna. Hello? Can you guys hear me? Okay, so I'm gonna play the video that I made today because I was scared to put it on my channel, and instead I had a friend of mine do it on his channel. So let me here's the video.
It's Common Knuckle here, and I like to give a bit of a shout out to Prince of Queens and display his video on my channel right here, since he can't really do it on his channel because he's afraid of getting community guidelines here. But as for me, I don't really give a shit about those rules. Nothing is fucking sacred here. And yeah, you can decide for yourselves if it's funny or offensive or bigoted or just insensitive. Whatever, it's your opinions. You can watch this video right here and yeah, check it out and decide for yourselves. Anyway, enjoy. These white people hate themselves. I can work with this. Hey, if you live in Portland, Oregon, or Berkeley, California, or Seattle, Washington, or Austin, Texas, or some white-ass city, man, let me tell you, check this out. As a green passing person of color, I gotta tell you that these white folks just don't have any idea how easy they be making things for me. Well, most people are just living day to day, trying to get by and put food out on the table and keep a roof over their head. There's a particular population of white people that is doing everything they can to make themselves look like goddamn fools up in this bitch. It's hilarious. Y'all gotta see this shit sometime. They be posting all these BuzzFeed, Mac.com, and MTV News clips where all the bitches up in the videos are doing is making fun of white people, and then these stupid ass honkies be saying they agree with all the points and talking about how they love all these videos. Even though the video is making fun of them, they saying they love it. The video is making fun of these white folks, but they post it all the time anyway. It's the craziest shit. I don't know what type of pathetic motherfucker raised all these saltines, because the first rule of growing up in my amphibious household was to respect myself and my Kekistani culture. But these toilet seat complexion white folks take their self-hatred to the bank, cash all their checks, give their checks away, go to the food bank because they ain't got no more money, and then give all the goddamn food they got at the food bank away, because that's just how worthless they think they really is. So check this out, y'all. Just as long as you ain't white and you are around crackers like these, let me let you in on a little secret that you can base your entire career around. If you want attention and notoriety in the white community and you ain't white, all you gotta do is point your finger at a white person who don't hate themselves as much as the other white people, and it's fucking on. Let's say a restaurant or bar puts up a temporary sign that says Black Olives Matter, obviously not realizing that this could be seen as trivializing the joke-ass fourth-wave feminist Black Lives Matter movement that ain't nobody care about no more anyway. The second you see some shit like that, which you can say is racist, tell all y'all white friends about it and get ready for a party. These white niggas will hoist you up on their shoulders and carry you down to that shop, and all hell will break loose. You can get them throwing shit through windows and try to fight motherfuckers. I swear to God, I've seen it. Then they will treat your motherfucking ass like a hero and fan your ass and feed you grapes for trying to ruin that person or business, just so long as you a person of color. They might even give you a job writing for some honky-ass newspaper talking smack on white folks every week because they don't want to seem like they are the white-ass paper that they really is. They'll just hire a non-white person to talk smack about white folks, and they think nobody will notice how honky-ass they really are. I'm telling y'all niggas, Uncle Tom ain't got shit on my green ass after I discovered this hustle. I hope these Beckys, Kyles, Shirleys, and Andersons never figure out this jive. It's way too fucking lucrative.
All right, that's my video that I made for today that I was actually scared to upload onto my Jesus. That I was actually scared to upload onto my channel. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Tell me in the chat if you enjoyed it, because I actually used racial slurs kind of repeatedly, and I was afraid of it getting a community strike because there are people who are out to get me at the moment. Hopefully they'll leave me alone eventually, but I don't know if they will. And I've heard of people, getting flagged for actually, using racial slurs, even though, my video is obviously entirely satire. It's a joke, but people aren't very good with jokes all the time, so I don't know. Wild Smile, you're welcome to unmute yourself whenever. I'm about to plug in my headset because I had to take it out.
And I'm back.
Okay, cool. So I take it you probably didn't watch the video that
I was listening.
It's very absurd. It was just me being a dick.
Shit. That's right. You have your own channel. I can watch your chat as well. I forgot about that. I'm just sitting on my chat, just watching the 3 people that are here, which they show up for every one of my streams. Shout out to Glitch and Kylon.
So yes, that was me. I was the person. Okay, Danica Lee says I need to work on my ebonics. Really?
Was that you being a black person? Did you change your voice?
Yeah, that was me.
That was awesome. I actually liked it because it actually just sounded like a moderately effeminate black dude.
I was I think I was trying to channel Chris Rock a little bit. I was remembering him when he was talking about he was talking about divorce court, and he was like, man, what the fuck is with divorce court? Women getting paid from what she's accustomed to, what she's used to getting from her husband. She's getting $5,000 a month because she's used to spending all his money. Can you imagine nigga showing up to court being like, yo, your honor, check this out.
See, as long as you don't post your face, make it seem like you're actually black, I think it'll be fine to post it to YouTube.
Well, the thing is, I think if people flagged me, it could actually, I was saying honky, I was saying cracker, I was saying nigga, I was saying every racial, it's just I don't think that the community guideline strikes are particularly fair. I don't think that they're going to look at it and be like, oh, this is satire and it's not necessarily a white person. I think that if it got flagged by people, I don't know. But whatever. So yeah, Flying Squirrel says, "Notice me just for the lulz." How are you doing, Flying Squirrel? So Danica Lee says, "I demand more ratchetness." I I didn't want to make it go overboard. I thought I did all right. Anyhow, so anything else about the Seth Rich?
Yeah, I got something actually. It's funny because we're half an hour in and I finally got the thing I prepared.
Okay. Do you want me to screen share you or something?
Let's see. I can. Let me get to it real quick. All right, you're good. You're good to screen share.
Okay.
All right, so you're able to see this?
No.
All right, I have to probably authorize the screen share then. Yes, there we go. So I found this on Twitter earlier, and I kind of touched on this on the video, but I found it really interesting. So the FBI offers up to $10,000 reward to recover stolen weapons. So there was apparently an FBI vehicle that was broken into really close to where Seth Rich died 2 hours before he died, or 2 to 4 hours before he died. And I'll just go ahead and read it. Suspects burglarized FBI vehicle in Washington, D.C. to steal weapons. The FBI's Washington field office is offering a reward up to $10,000 for information leading to the recovery of stolen weapons. And then it says, on Sunday, July 10th, 2016, between midnight and 2 a.m., unknown suspects burglarized an FBI special agent's vehicle and removed a secured lockbox which contained weapons and other equipment. The vehicle was parked in the H Street corridor near H and 7th Streets Northeast in Washington, D.C. The lockbox, which contained the items listed below, was fitted for authorized use in a government vehicle. So it pretty much has a bunch of, so if, say, Seth Rich was killed with a Glock 22 handgun, 40 caliber, we might be able to figure out it might narrow it down substantially. And so basically what the person was asking is, given this information, I zoomed in way too much. Where is the autopsy results? Where are the autopsy results? Where are the bullet casings that are part of a police investigation? What caliber of gun was it that killed Seth Rich? What made Seth Rich a VIP in the hospital, and who authorized it? Why was it only that certain people could attend to him? This is a reference to an anonymous post, actually.
Now I know about. Oh, and by the way, just real quick, thanks for the $2 from Dan Corrine that wants more ghetto prints. I appreciate that. I will try to deliver more ghetto prints. I just wanted to interject about the whole hospital situation. I've heard that people didn't rob him, actually, like they didn't steal any of his valuables, and that also he was like sectioned off in the hospital. How do we know that?
Okay, that is from an anonymous post on 4chan. So again, that the source for that isn't very deep. You have to kind of take it on face value. So we don't necessarily know that is true per se.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's more or less the same as somebody in a room coming up and saying, "Hey, I work there. This happened." I like to trust but verify, but there's no fucking way to verify an anonymous post, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does kind of seem like I did you watch my video about the Seth Rich and
I didn't. No.
Okay, so in my video, I was basically saying like there's a tale of two narratives. Where the right is saying that because it has to do with Comey being fired. And like I'll absolutely agree 110% that it's absolutely absurd to try to say that Comey was fired to stop an investigation on Russia because he was going to uncover some Russia connection, because it's like there's no evidence. There is no evidence for that. But there is a bunch of things that we do know about the DNC being incredibly crooked. Like we do know for certain that they did hire people to incite violence. for example.
Yep.
Like
Project Veritas showed that. Like James O'Keefe did some amazing work pre-election with Project Veritas.
And those people who got exposed ended up resigning as soon as that information came out. So like we basically know that that is true. So like we have that, and then we have what was in the WikiLeaks, regardless of where they came from. We basically, it's like people are saying, oh, Donald Trump's firing Seth Rich because of he's worried about being exposed. But it's like, well, but what Donald Trump, the reason that he said he fucking fired Seth Rich was because he didn't do a good job looking into the emails. And there's probably other things. There's probably other things that, to act like not sorry, I said Seth Rich. I meant to say James Comey. When Donald Trump fired James Comey, it's absolutely naive to act like the head of the FBI, who was the head under the Obama administration, was not complicit in some shit with them. He wasn't biased in favor of his essentially his bosses, and that's just naive. I mean, like, we look at the actual ridiculous, crazy shit that went on during the Obama administrations in terms of just like them quietly doing creepy things, and then they passed the propaganda legalizing bill on the masses, and then when the guy tried to expose it, his car mysteriously crashed. And
yep, I remember that.
Yeah, and they might have hacked into his car and accelerated it, because eyewitnesses saw him going at about maximum speed before he ran into a fucking palm tree at around 4:30 a.m. in LA. And it's like, and he had a car that you could have easily hacked. And then
do you remember a few months ago it made like a very high post on Reddit. It was on my front page, but basically some people from a computer were able to hack a car and control the speed and the turning and everything. I forget what vehicle it was. That's probably an important detail, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, and I heard that Mercedes, it was a Mercedes that this happened with, and they were about to come out and have a statement, because they're supposed to be a very safe brand or whatever, and they were going to have a big press conference where they tried to clear things up, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, they canceled it, and nobody ever really knew why. So we know that Obama was doing shit that was that shady, and then there's the Vault 7 leaks and stuff. We have all of that stuff, and it's like Comey was just, oh, well, Hillary Clinton was kind of, careless with her emails. That's fine. It's like, okay, no, maybe he sucks. Maybe this guy actually does suck. And the fact that they're coming up with this Russia conspiracy theory, it just makes them look really guilty. But at the same time, the Seth Rich conspiracy theory it does almost seem like it's being manufactured as well. We're hearing these details that are like, oh, and they wouldn't let anybody near him in the hospital and blah 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 blah, and then that may well not be true.
Yeah, because it's very possible that this was just a troll. That someone's like, this would incite people, get people worked up.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things that at this point we're kind of all operating on a level of presumed honesty.
Yeah. There's been other things that are weird. Okay. For example, we do know that Hillary Clinton paid people to basically argue for her on the internet or troll on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to use the word troll necessarily, but when somebody's being paid to advocate for a candidate, it is sort of appropriate to use the word troll, because it's almost like it's not their opinion anymore. They're just being paid to say it. So, that almost does fit the definition of troll. But what's weird is that did you ever read that the person who came forward who Sorry, you're squeaking a lot. There's some squeaky ass shit going on your end.
It should be done now.
Okay.
I was grinding something.
Okay. So the thing is, there was somebody who wrote a confession on, I believe, on Reddit that came forward, and they can, but it was anonymous, and it was about a page and a half long, and it talked about how they were okay. You're still making that squeaky ass shit, dude.
Is it this right here?
Yeah.
Because that's my chair.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I need to hit this thing with some WD-40 or something. It drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty loud. So okay. Somebody made a post that was anonymous, but it was called something like Confessions of a Former Paid Hillary Clinton Troll. And it was describing that they had been approached by a PR firm to be a online social media correspondent for Hillary Clinton campaigning or whatever. And he said, i.e. a paid Hillary Clinton troll. And he had worked for Hillary Clinton's campaign or volunteered in 2008. So he was like, okay, I guess I'll do this. And that was before he had ever heard of Bernie Sanders. And at first it was fine and everything. And then Bernie Sanders began being discussed more and more. And very, very soon after that, according to this anonymous testimony, very soon after that, they were told to shift the focus of trying to speak kindly about Hillary Clinton and instead try to sabotage not just Bernie Sanders, but his supporters, and to call them all misogynists. And okay, so basically like what you would expect, basically like all the shit that they did, the whole like Bernie Bros narrative, and then also even like call them racists and blah, 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 blah. Like every single fucking cheap thing that they did to Bernie Sanders and his supporters, all, you know, the Hillary bots, the way that they just uniformly tried to demonize and sabotage Sanders' campaign every step of the way, including on social media. And it was, I remember reading this and I was like, it's so true. This is exactly what happened. This. But then I was like, wait, there is a possibility that this is untrue, because this whole thing, if somebody were to have hired me and said, I will pay you $500 or $1,000 or fucking whatever, you know, to write to because, you know, I was, back in the day, I was a big Sanders supporter. Like you said, I no longer really like him either. But I at the time, I 100%, 110% thought that I would always be a Democrat, because I was that kind of person, you know? And so I was very much advocating for Sanders because I thought that Sanders would beat whoever in the general election, and I thought that, you know, we have to win the election because we're Democrats and blah blah blah. That's how I viewed myself. And so if somebody with knowing the way that people behaved towards Sanders supporters and the way that they tried to call us all misogynists and all this stupid shit, if somebody asked me to they're like, hey, could you believe that somebody was paying Hillary Clinton supporters to post on the internet? Like, and I was already saying so. I was already saying, yes, it seems like these people are being paid. If somebody said, hey, could you write about a page and a half that would be a fake confessional from one of these paid Hillary Clinton trolls that decided that they didn't want to do it anymore? If somebody had paid me to write that piece, it would have been almost precisely what this person had written, because I had observed them doing all of those things, and I would have written it just like that. And so we have to look at things like that. It's like, okay, it was very, very convincing because it very, very accurately described how these people behaved. But at the same time, somebody could have easily just written it to be convincing because that's how they behaved. You know, and that's where we have to sort of like like I'm willing. I would put a 90% chances that it's real, that this particular former paid Hillary Clinton troll was a real person that used to do this, because we do know that she did pay people, and it sounded exactly like what they did. But at the same time, it's like I could have written that myself.
Yeah, really anyone could. That's why it's hard to take anything we see from an anonymous poster at face value, because at the same time you can see this being easily written by the opposition in order to discredit the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the things I've heard people say, which is it does kind of seem this way, is that, like, the left is experts at lying by omission, or like overemphasizing things to feed the narrative, and even when it's like irrefutable that the overall narrative is false, they're going to find every little bit and piece just to feed that narrative. Whereas the right, there's just a lot of fucking like random kind of hoaxes that show up. Is what it seems like, like things that there's no real evidence that, and then all of a sudden everybody's talking about it, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's not hard for me to believe that fucking Bill Clinton is a pedophile, but like at the same time, I haven't seen the evidence.
See, there is more evidence to suggest that he is actually a serial sexual predator. There has been a lot of instances, like even the Monica Lewinsky case. If Matt Drudge didn't play it like he did, it wouldn't have even come out at all. What Matt Drudge did was essentially single-handedly, one man took the information he had and leaked it out over the course of 2 weeks, or something along those lines. So it had to stick, because each day more was coming out about it. Sort of like this Seth Rich thing, like if you can spread out the amount of time where something is investigated, it makes it seem much more true. And with the president's one, they couldn't stop him. This was when the internet was still in its infancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not familiar with Matt Drudge, I didn't know about him until I read through Andrew Breitbart's book. But if you're interested in new media, the rise of internet culture, and not even internet culture, but just the rise of a different media, Andrew Breitbart's Righteous Indignation. Even if you don't like Breitbart.com, I personally don't like Breitbart.com, but Andrew Breitbart is a major inspiration for me. Andrew Breitbart was a genius.
I definitely, when I've seen him talk and like his quotes and everything, like, yeah, I think he's pretty cool in a lot of ways. Wasn't the Drudge Report, what's the first name of Drudge?
Matt.
Say again?
Matthew.
Okay, yeah, Matt. And then it was Andrew Breitbart and Ariana Huffington.
Yeah. It's so strange that Ariana Huffington hired Andrew Breitbart to work to build the Huffington Post. That is the strangest thing.
Yeah, it's looking back on it all.
Reality is truly stranger than fiction.
I don't think, though. Okay, like Ariana Huffington,
she started as a conservative, by the way. She was a major conservative.
I'm not surprised at all. I'm sure she doesn't even.
I think she still is. I think
she probably does. I think she probably just doesn't give a shit anymore. She's just like living in like fucking, I don't know, Beverly Hills or something, and like she like barely even looks at her own blog. Like she's just rich. Like she don't give a fuck. That's my theory.
I didn't know Matt Drudge was gay. That's strange.
He's gay?
Yeah. Someone in my chat's like, yeah, he's a big homo. I was like, oh shit. I didn't either. I'm not surprised. He does live in Hollywood. And I don't mean that everyone lives in Hollywood is gay, but if you're the type
a lot of people live in Hollywood.
And especially a person that made their profession on gossip and publishing it, it's pretty likely. I actually follow the Drudge Report on Twitter, but the thing is with the Drudge Report is it's a news aggregate, so there's just so many different things that come up through the Drudge Report. But I don't know. I tend to really respect Matt Drudge.
Yeah, I don't follow the Drudge Report. Somebody just told me that. Okay, is it true that you cannot get flagged for a video if it's not monetized?
I don't know if that's true.
No, because I mean, oh, so we can like upload kiddie porn and not monetize it? Oh,
Right. Like, I think if it breaks the community guidelines, they can shut it down no matter what.
yeah. So yeah. Okay. So, but like, I don't know. I'm scared to post my video. To be honest, let's look at some pictures of Matt Drudge and Ariana Huffington and Andrew Breitbart back in the day, back when they were young bucks.
I'm not sure if they would all be together, but there is certainly something of Ariana Huffington and Andrew Breitbart together because they worked like together.
Well, we will. Wait. Okay. So they didn't all work together at once.
I think Matt Drudge was always his own thing.
Okay. Okay. So like Ariana Huffington, Breitbart.
Yeah. Okay. Before the Huffington Post was even fathomed, like, and this is how Andrew Breitbart talks about it in his book, by the way. But he says that he basically came up with an idea of getting all of the liberals to say all of the crazy BS they say behind closed doors, but to say it openly on a blog for people to read. And I wonder sometimes if Ariana Huffington wasn't in on it and was just like, I'm going to pretend to be a liberal, but I'm also still with you, buddy. I am 100% on that.
It wouldn't be surprising. Yeah. God. That does make sense. Wait,
it really would, especially with how conservatives tend to.
Say the quote that he said again.
Which one? Who?
Let's get the liberals to say.
Okay, yeah, I'm on like my second listen through to his audiobook. He essentially said, we need to get all of the liberals to say all of the crazy stuff they say behind closed doors on an open forum. Something along. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like that.
Yeah. Which is
he's brilliant. If you haven't ran through his book, even if you can find an audiobook of it, it's only like, it might be like 6 hours long. So I don't know. It might be long for some people, but it's really informative about the rise of new media, and it rings true to this day.
It makes sense if you think about the notion of, the liberals. Okay, I don't like to call the left liberals anymore. The left has become the establishment, and they are just the moral. They think that they're the moral authority based on nothing besides the majority or the assumed majority. They think that they're the majority, then therefore they're right. And in the same type of way as, random Christians were probably in the 1950s, like, it's like, oh, well, we're good Christians. We're right. And it's like, well, first of all, are you even good Christians? Second of all, like, are you right? Are you right about anything? And that's the way the left has gotten. And yeah, the way that people speak behind closed doors and everything, they say that about conservatives, like, oh, that conservatives say awful stuff behind closed doors. And it's
Speaking of which, sorry, hold that thought, but just typing in Andrew Breitbart, why Huffington Post, all of the things are just celebrating his death. The stupid saga of Andrew Breitbart in the Huffington Post. Allow us to remind you that Huffington, or Breitbart's founder, ... It's just a whole bunch of like just slinging shit at him.
When did Andrew Breitbart die?
2012, I think. Shortly after he made it, he was in a video where it was someone from Media Matters, and they were asking him for a comment. He's like, "You want my comment? Fuck you, John Podesta," and then walked away. And he said, "It's awesome. It's he's a fucking boss, dude. He's one of my like top 5 favorite human beings." No, and then as they're walking away, he's like, "Do you want to play these games, John Podesta? What's in your closet, Big Soros, Big Podesta?" He's like, "Are you ready to play these games? Because we're playing to win." And then like a month later, he died.
How did he die?
A very mysterious heart attack. And his autopsy doctor also died a month later from a heart attack.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so goddamn sketchy.
Wait, let's look. Wait, let's no. We gotta look this up.
Great. No,
sorry, we're gonna look this up on fucking Wikipedia.
No, go right ahead, man. I tumbled down this rabbit hole once or twice. It's fun.
Of Andrew Bright. Oh, they don't want me to see this. They are.
It's like tucked in there, man.
Look, yeah, it's like okay, this should be auto-correcting by now.
Here's a funny thing. You go back and watch clips of Andrew Breitbart, and like you could see, like there was one.
Look.
Go ahead.
Look at. It just says congestive heart failure. Period. That's all it says. Like normally there's at least like a teeny bit of text, you know, like a teeny, and then it says, and then over here, let's look over here. Andrew Breitbart, entrepreneur. Like that's it. Like no, like fucking no, political media personality.
Yeah, he did a whole lot more than just found a business, that's for sure.
Like they do not want people looking at this.
Yeah, right?
Let's look at his Wikipedia.
And the media slandered him when he was around. I mean, Fox News really liked him. Big surprise there. But they hated Andrew Breitbart. They called him, of course, racist, very creative. He brought down Acorn. He brought down a couple of things. Congestive heart.
He wasn't even that old. He was really young.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people think that it's like heart attack. Really? I don't buy it. But
he's
at the same time,
barely older. He's barely older than my sister. That's weird.
Yeah, he was really young. A lot of gray hair though.
Yeah. Okay, so let's look at death.
Oh shit, the heart attack gun. I forgot about that.
On the night of February 29th. February 29th, 19. So after Obama was secure in his second term and everything got crazy. Because like Obama's first term, not so bad, not so bad. But then you could tell during the debates when he was debating Romney that he was a broken man. Like Obama was not the same person as he used to be.
That hope and optimism is just seemingly gone.
Yeah, he seemed scared. He seemed not to be able to put together his words, and he just wasn't the same person. And it was as if dare I say it, the deep state had come a knockin' and said, Obama, you have two options. Sorry, you probably only have one option because option 2 is death. Here's the first option. And this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to try to get reelected. And when you get reelected, you have to do all this shit for us. And if you don't do that, the end. And that's kind of what it seemed like, because like the second he got back, into office for his second term, everything went to shit. They passed the bill that made it so that he could legally use propaganda on the masses. And then when the guy reported about it, his fucking car died, all the Vault 7 stuff. And on February 29th, 2012, very soon after Andrew Breitbart died. So it's like, and Breitbart would have been one of the key figures in the pushback of the, return propaganda.
I don't think we would be as far down the rabbit hole as far as political correctness if Andrew Breitbart was still with us.
Yeah. No, I mean, he would be a good person to get out of the way for their...
Specifically, like, Breitbart has become kind of a joke. I am, like, I'm not very conservative, but I'm slightly right of center. And Breitbart.com is a fucking joke. And it's sad because Andrew Breitbart was I hate using this word, but he was a genius. Not in the sense of he made something amazing, but listening to his words that he wrote and the things that he did, he was very much smarter than the average fucking bear. And he saw all of the radical Marxism that was underlined in our society as a form of a foundation to push up what would later be our current state of Frankfurt School socialism.
Yeah, and it's definitely very what's the word? Well, the thing that I'm remembering of him that I really, really liked, I guess, is when he used to be he went to a liberal college and
Yep, American Studies.
American Studies.
Yeah, he had a degree in American Studies, which is pretty much political correctness, honestly.
Huh. Where did he go?
Tulane is in New Orleans.
Huh. Okay. So let's read about his death. On the night of February 29th, 2012, Breitbart collapsed suddenly while walking in Brentwood. He was rushed to Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead just after midnight. He was 43 years old. An autopsy by the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office showed that he had hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
Yep. And he was adopted, so his family didn't have any history of that sort of thing.
Okay. With focal coronary arthritis and died of heart failure. He was buried in the Jewish plot at the Hillside Memorial Park Cemetery. His grave is marked with the inscription, "Herein lies a giant." Unproven conspiracy theories arose about his death. The toxicology reports showed no prescription or illicit drugs were detected. The blood alcohol was 0.4. No significant trauma was present, and foul play is not suspected. Bill Whittle, a friend of Breitbart, had said that Breitbart had a serious heart attack just months before his death. In remembrance, Republican presidential candidate Rick Santorum, Mitt Romney, and Newt Gingrich praised Breitbart. Santorum called Breitbart's death a huge loss that strongly affected him. Romney praised Breitbart as a fearless conservative, while Gingrich remembered him as the most innovative pioneer in conservative activist social media in America. A special episode of Red Eye with Greg Gutfeld aired the day after his death, as the host and panelists paid their tributes and showed clips from the appearances on the show. Okay.
Greg Gutfeld is also a really interesting person. I actually didn't really care for him, but there was a clip of Greg Gutfeld on Tucker Carlson. And the reason I bring up Greg Gutfeld is he actually came from the Huffington Post as their token conservative writer. But he had this line where he's like, the reason I go to the gym, there's no affirmative action for abs. There's no communism in the gym. He said, working out is the perfect representation of capitalism. You see the work that you put in. And he just went on, and I was just thinking there, just getting a mild erection, just like this guy speaks my fucking language right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, oh God. It's so interesting because it's like the left is going to hold on to the bitter end to their narrative and push it in every facet of culture that they can. In corporate media and in schools and everywhere, there's going to be this like, racial minorities always have it worse, men always have it better, and
see, that's the whole critical theory Marxist underlining that I was mentioning earlier. It was a translation. You see, when they brought over Marxism to America and tried to implement the haves versus the have-nots, it didn't take. People weren't fucking buying it, because the idea of Americanism is you get what you work for. And then when they said, well, how they changed it, they changed the algorithm to be the oppressors versus the oppressed. And as soon as they did that, it took and people ran with it. And that's why you have specifically people from a lot of the quote disenfranchised unquote groups grouping together in order to take down the oppressive white man.
Yeah. Or what it's ended up as is anybody who says the wrong thing at any moment, because that person is working with the patriarchy or whatever, and it's gotten really, really bad. And okay, so this is another thing. Have you thought about this? Maybe you've thought about this. I was feeling like the way that American culture was heading, I wouldn't say that it was full-blown communism, but it was pretty close anyway, at least in terms of four-year universities in many, many places. Many, many people who came from rich families were put into, or decent families, they were put into, 4-year universities in which they kind of, studied bullshit for the most part,
Right.
like it wasn't particularly lucrative studies, and then they ended up in a whole bunch of debt that they were never really going to pay off, and then functionally it was kind of like they were working for the state for the rest of their lives, while the poor gets supported, and then people who actually work really hard pay a lot of taxes too. And our whole system was not a whole lot different than communism in that way, because of debt, and people being controlled by their debt, and our system encouraging people to get stuck into debt. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, you're basically saying with high taxes, it's not easy for people to get out of debt, right?
Well, yeah, but it's a little bit more than that. It's like this
Yeah.
idea that like people who come from upper middle class families end up going into colleges, and then
Mhm.
they end up getting some stupid degree that's worth shit all. It's like not worth
Yeah.
anything. And then they're put into debt because they went to college, and then they get some they get some job basically as a propagandist,
Exactly. That's
and
what's interesting to me.
so
It's kind of an example of the socialism that is inherent in modern academia, I guess you could say, is that the only job you can get after going to college, you won't be able to find any work, but you can find a work advocating for social justice somewhere. Absolutely. There's
yeah.
always a fucking job for that.
Yeah, well, and you'll never get yourself comfortable doing that. You are a slave to this. Like, it's like if you had every advantage in the world and you wanted to make the world a better place, well, good luck with that. You're going to be making the world a better place, in quotes. You're going to be advocating for social justice, in quotes, for the rest of your goddamn life, because you're going to be in debt. You're going to be trying to get it's like you've almost become a part of a trap, and you're going to suck as many more people into that trap as possible. And it's honestly, it's mostly upper middle class people who end up in this trap. um it's a very weird thing.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I was just lost in chat.
Oh, yeah, it's like, like there's a discouragement of upper middle class people from actually, making money for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, absolutely. There is a huge social stigma against anyone who is above middle class trying to do better for themselves. And I'm not a big proponent of like trickle down economics, but I do understand the idea that if big businesses do well, it tends to be good for the entire economy. And when you prevent businesses from doing well for the sake of saying, oh, well, we need to make sure you don't exceed your expectations, it tends to not be a good thing for anybody.
yeah.
Like, if basically what I mean is the regulations on government is, I do find that they're important. Like leading up to the Depression in the 1930s, I believe the Pullman Palace cars, I might have mentioned this before, I tend to bring this up as a great example. There were Pullman Palace cars where employees were paid very shit wages, but their housing was paid for them, their food was paid for them, yada, yada, almost like a communist society, right? And the living conditions were absolutely horrible because you had one employer that was able to control all of the person's living expenses. And basically they worked their employees to such a high degree with little benefits that it ended up pushing for bigger regulation in the government
Mm.
because of the bad example that they set forth.
Yeah, that would be a very, very fucked up situation. Yeah. Oh god, it's so.
I'm gonna need to back off for a minute. I gotta use the restroom.
Okay. it's always so amazing to me to think about, you know, like we're this whole stream is basically based around a conspiracy theory. Do people come up with this stuff, or does it happen organically? Like, is there a natural selection thing that kind of happens with governments, where governments learn how to subtly exploit the people that are in their government because they can, because that's how natural selection works. You know, it's like, okay, we have our populists, and we can either help them out universally, which, you know, kind of ends up fucking over the rulers, or we can end up, you know, helping out the rulers, and the people will get pissed off eventually. So then you have the moment where everybody realizes that there has to be sort of a balance, and then there's people that kind of go into the government with the sole purpose of trying very specifically to come up with that weird balance. Oh my god, what the fuck am I even talking about? The alcohol is hitting me harder than I thought it was going to. I guess I just mean that it's like the balance between fucking over the people and fucking over and then the rulers not doing well is weird. And like, how many people are good at really, really tricking people, and how long does this go on before things end up changing? So yeah. Hey, you're back.
I am back, yes. Oh man, what a day!
What type of job do you work?
I work as a server at a restaurant.
Okay.
And I've been there. It's my first job, and I somehow have clung to it and just kind of gotten better at it. And I'm not the best with people, but I'm really fucking good at picking up plates, cleaning tables, and then every once in a while coming by and being like, "You guys doing all right tonight? All right. If there's anything else I can get for you, you guys feel free to flag me down." I'm not good at anything else. The whole, "Hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm the teacher server." I'm not good at that. Like, I'm the type of guy that walks up to your table like, "How you guys doing? I'll be right back to get your drink order. You guys like a couple waters?" You know, that type of shit. Like, I do not like overselling it.
Uh-huh. How old are you?
20. Oh, man, I turn 28 next week. Fuck. Or 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks.
Well, yeah, I would say overselling a serving position is generally not a good thing to do, because
exactly. It's the same way I operate my YouTube channel. Actually, I want to be what I would want, right? Like, yeah. I try to do the content I would want to watch. That's more or less what my channel is me. This is the channel I want to see. And with serving, I'm the server I would want, which is minimal interaction. I don't want to talk with you, ask you how you're doing. I just want to make sure your drink is fucking filled and you have your food.
Do you ever watch your old videos that you've put up?
Once or twice. I regret doing it. I actually think about going back and deleting a lot of them.
Do you? But you make like 2 videos a day.
Yeah, sometimes a few more. I try not to flood my users' subscription feeds, or my subscriber base's subscription feeds, I should say.
Yeah, but that's cool. Like, to do that. I usually make 1 a day. Usually 1 a day.
Yeah, usually the original plan was 1 a day, but man, there is so much dumb shit in the world. I just can't help myself.
It's so amazing too. Like, when I look at the people that are on my Facebook friend list and I see the type of shit that they're still saying, like, they're like, they posted somebody posted a few days ago, or maybe yesterday, it was like something about Hillary Clinton giving a speech at Wesleyan College, and they're like, it must be so demeaning for her to go to the college that she went to, knowing that she should be president and blah blah, and multiple people like posted before anybody caught it. Like I was the first person to post a "fuck you" like comment under it, like eat shit. Like they were like the election was stolen from her and blah blah, and it's like no,
it was her turn.
Yeah, no, and it's like no, like. This is no, like every fucking advantage that you could have had, every fucking uninformed voter that you could have had was in favor of her.
And one small thing that never gets brought up, but it's nothing you can actually measure, I don't think. But all of the cities that are sanctuary cities and also have very lax ID voter laws are ones that vote overwhelmingly for Hillary. I mean, it leads you to believe that she would have a lot of illegal voters, but they assured us during the election that couldn't happen. So,
yeah,
take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because they're just nice. They're people of color and girls. They don't do anything wrong. It's just the white men who do bad stuff. No, but so like people. There were people say stuff like that, and it's absolutely absurd. And it's like, how do you talk to these people? Like, you could literally have video footage of Hillary Clinton going up behind somebody in a chair and strangling them to death with like a fucking wire or something, and she could be like cackling and being like, ha 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 ha, you didn't think I would get you, and like strangling them to death. And you could have the footage and they would say, well, that's just the Russians made this footage. Like it's like the belief in the Democrats and Hillary and all of it.
Well, they're a huge cabal. Like tying it back into the illegal voting, I mentioned, I brought it up in a few of my videos, but there is a video of President Obama, former President Obama, when he was president, encouraging people who are illegal to go out there and vote because they can't get arrested for going out there and voting. He's basically saying, look, there is no situation where the people at the voting booths would try to arrest you. So if you want to vote, vote. And she's like, well, my parent, and the person interviewing them was saying, my parents, my family, they're all illegals. Well, they're undocumented citizens. I say citizens because they contribute to this country. That's what she said, word for word. But she essentially says, what do you have to say to them in regards to voting? So it's literally a video of President Obama encouraging people who are illegal citizens to go out there and vote. It's crazy. I felt like I needed to bring that up.
Yeah, and it's like, now, regardless of whether or not people, like, regardless of people's feelings about immigration and like, are people who are living here, who are working and contributing to our society, do they have every right to be considered citizens or not? Blah, 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 blah. Regardless, where's the Republican representatives that are trying to get them to vote for them? Like, are these people voting for the kind out of their, because they want a choice, or are they voting because the Democrats told them to go vote and they're always going to vote for Democrats? And
also because the Democrats have their interests at heart. Republicans want them out.
Yeah.
And it's not even that. Republicans are probably doing some deceivious things, but isn't it interesting that the only things that have come to light are all a bunch of deceivious Democrat shenanigans?
I think the word is deceptive.
It's very deceptive, yes.
Yeah. Deceivious. Is that even a real word?
Deceivious, yes. I'm pretty sure it is.
I think the word is deceptive. Deceive.
I don't know. I tend to make up words because eventually they catch on 3 years later anyway.
Yeah, I know. I love made up words. Like imaginate the possibilities. We should imaginate. Can you imaginate a world where Hillary Clinton was president? Ugh. But yeah, it's also the other shitty thing is the whole like world of a martyr, like where a presidential candidate loses, and there's people willing to write the fan fiction of like what would happen if they won. We have that with Al Gore.
Yeah, I remember that. Because it's sort of the same thing. And from what people have told me, it's been the same thing every time a Democrat runs for office and loses. They have to pretend like it was stolen from them, like they won it. And it's always, oh, the popular vote, oh, the electoral college. That's obviously the problem. Oh, and if you really think the electoral college is the problem, I would encourage you to go to Google, type in Trump, right? Election victory. That is not even a word. Election victory by county, right? Because you need to do it by county, and you can really see the voice of the American people. And I some people have even told me that's bullshit. That's not real. No, that's real. That map is like 85% red. Look at this son of a bitch. It's crazy. Most people voted for Trump, and it's not. I'm not even a big Trump guy, but I think that many people hated Hillary.
Oh yeah, they definitely
I mean,
did.
I'm one of them for sure.
Yeah, well, no, and like, even with me, with my, hundreds and hundreds of SJWs that I know in my real life, I would have well over 2,000 if I had stayed friends with these people, but I lost over 500 because of just all the arguing. But like, even with the true believers, like, that are the people that are like, what if the most qualified candidate that also happened to be a woman actually won? What if we were living in that world? Like, the people who post shit like that, there will always be at least a few people who are like, oh, get fucked, she was fucking awful. And these are people who are Democrats who are like, yeah, Bernie Sanders should have been the president, blah, 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 blah. But like, even amongst the ranks of the left, there's everybody, like, not everybody, but there's a sizable amount of people who admit that she was just fucking awful. There's no sugarcoating it. Like, she was the worst of the worst.
And that kind of brings it back, because I was going to mention, how would you get Donald Trump elected? At the beginning of Donald Trump's, even though I kind of like him now, every time he does something mildly trollish, I'm like, man, I fucking love this man. I'm so glad he's president. It's fun. It's not even that I agree with his policies. It's just so much fun. Yeah. But even before then, when I was like, dude, we can't let this guy become president. This is ridiculous. Even back then, if you were to tell me, well, if we run him against Hillary Clinton, do you think he would win? And I would probably sigh for like a solid minute. Yeah, he probably would win. That's pretty much how you get someone who's incredibly unliked by the public. You find somebody who's somehow even more disliked and get them to run against them.
Yeah. Yeah. Hillary she's just so awful.
We need to Pokemon Go to the polls. There's so many times in her presidency or in her run for president that I just wanted to rip my fucking eyes out of my head.
No, and then she got Michael Moore to be all like,
oh my God, fuck yeah. Michael Moore. I hate that fat fuck so much.
he looks like some sort of fucked up Muppet that, like...
I had a pretty good zinger in my most recent video talking about celebrities who are coming out to, talk about how we live in a fascist society. And I was like, Michael Moore, worth $56 million, something like that. Anyway, it was like, and apparently being a unsufferable fat fuck is a pre-existing condition. Michael Moore is currently undergoing a male to female transition. I know he isn't, but it was funny to me at the time because he looks like he's turning into a woman.
No,
if you ever noticed yourself turning this is just a PSA for all the people out there, even the females. If you see yourself turning into Michael Moore, do a few fucking push-ups every day, because I'm pretty sure it'll undo the process.
Yeah, actually, that's a good motivator.
It actually does generate testosterone, by the way, I believe.
To think about yourself becoming Michael Moore every day.
What a nightmare.
Yeah. No, okay, so as a gay guy, I can tell you guys very, very, very honestly that for the last 4 or 5 months, kind of like people complain about if you beat a liberal in an argument, they will call you a racist.
Mm-hmm. Undoubtedly.
Yeah, which is, which I've started doing to leftists recently if we ever talk about race and they don't have anything to say, I'm just like, wow, you're really a racist. You're just projecting all this stuff onto It works pretty well. Just tell them that they're a racist and that they're projecting, and they don't, because it's actually usually true. Actually, in most cases,
Yeah.
like that's the whole. But more than
Brings
that,
out if somebody brings up race in a situation where race wasn't a part of the discussion, that they're probably racist.
yeah, just say they're projecting. But the thing with the Michael Moore was that he said the thing that gay guys say, which was their way of like blowing off a conversation. They'd be like, whatever, bye, Felicia.
Oh, I
And
remember that.
oh my God, it was so cringy. It was so cringy because that's what gay guys have been saying for like the past 3 years. And if you ever beat them in an argument, they'd be like, whatever, you're just a something something, bye, Felicia. And it was like, okay, but I still beat you in the argument. Like, do you not see that? Like, does it not matter to you? Ultimately, it didn't matter to them because they didn't actually know anything about anything. It's so disappointing to look at the world as somebody who like actually, at least attempts to follow things. Now, granted, it's not like I get everything right, and it's not like I have the brain capacity to follow everything. But when I get into an argument, I'm trying to like, inform people of the truth or learn about the truth myself.
Absolutely.
And then you realize that like the vast majority of people are not interested in that at all.
Right.
That's
because one of the biggest things that we do as human beings is we try to observe truth on our end and share it with other people. That's because we only hold a part of truth, and we have to share it with other people in order to get a broader sense of what the truth actually is.
Yeah. Well, I think that the other thing is that a lot of people, what they're really, what most people's MO in life is that they are trying to make themselves happy, and they have come up with a formula for how to make themselves happy, and they don't want to necessarily alter that formula unless they're absolutely certain that they have to alter that formula because popular opinion has told them, hey, this formula that you have for making yourself happy isn't working anymore. It's not actually right. Majority opinion no longer agrees with your formula of making yourself happy. So, like, that sounded very abstract, obviously. But like, okay, prior to Obama being elected, there were many, many, many people in our nation who were probably really, really bigoted in a lot of ways. They were probably really deeply racist and deeply homophobic and deeply whatever. And they never thought that a black guy would be our president deep down. And when Obama got elected, it was just a drastic change of their worldview. And maybe they didn't want to admit it. And like maybe this is a small percentage. It probably is a relatively small percentage of actual people. But like, they didn't really want to admit it. And then when he got reelected, they had to finally admit to themselves, okay, maybe being racist isn't cool. Maybe, and it actually really, really changed things for them. But at the same time, they probably fought it to the bitter end.
See, I think I'm kind of opposite to that. I think more people had problem disagreeing with Obama than people who had agreeing with him.
I think that I think you're absolutely right.
White guilt was stronger than racism.
No. Okay, I think you're absolutely right in terms of more people. I think that a lot of people, that white guilt was stronger than racism, but I am saying that there is still the actual racist people out there.
There certainly are.
Yeah.
I've met a few of them myself.
Yeah, and so like, but what's funny is that Obama, his presidency, the white guilt that we had in 2008 was nothing compared to the white guilt that we have now.
The race relations are worse than I have ever seen it in my entire life.
Yeah, and that's what my little satire video that I showed today was about. Was like the with the guy being like, y'all would never believe how much these crackers hate themselves. Y'all can take advantage of this shit. And like that's the point I'm kind of like making, is this like it's become this absurd thing. And and what's amazing is that like I thought it was going to go away so many times, and it's just
Right?
like, I mean, I know that it is finally going away now. Like, I know that the grassroots are starting to grow. Just because I have some, younger friends that I know from my YouTube channel and stuff, and they're talking about, like, the kids are talking about it in high school. They have, like, social justice teachers that are, like, wackos, and, like, the kids are being like, yeah, is it just me, or is she full of shit? And they're starting to agree. But at the same time, like, there's somebody like you or I, we clearly base a decent amount of our existence around trying to challenge ourselves and our preconceived notions and, like, what we know about stuff. But, like, way more than 90% of people don't do that at all. And it's like, we have to be the ones to do that, and then hope to feed it down to them, like, what we've discovered, and that's where it gets, it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I'm going to light up a cigarette and smoke a little bit, and then probably end this stream.
Yeah, I'm actually about ready to go now, actually, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay. Well, you can go now then. I'm not going to keep you.
Right. I just didn't want to end abruptly.
No, that's fine.
But thanks, everyone. It was fun doing the stream. I'm not sure how much we actually talked about Seth Rich during this stream, but
I think it was related enough.
That's fair enough for me.
Yeah. So great. Well, thanks for coming on, and
Yeah, my pleasure.
Congratulations on your channel growth.
Thank you. And hey, congratulations on yours too. Like, we're doing our own thing, and because yours has a more of a niche audience, it's going to be harder to grow. Like, I actually tried to do a video game channel for like a year, and I got 100 subscribers, 150 or so over the course of like a year. So, 10,000, hey, there's 1,000 difference between us, but considering that you have a more of a niche audience, it's still, I think it's more impressive, actually. So congratulations on yours as well.
Yeah, well, and even no matter what I were to say about, any sort of, is it good, is it bad? There's many people who are quite jealous of my subscriber growth. So I can't help but be very, very happy about what I've done. But yeah, if anybody is in the audience and they are have not checked out Wild Smile, he does good news story recaps where he will read through texts and then give his opinions. It's not dissimilar to what Sargon does in This Week in Stupid, except for I would say Wild Smile is a little bit more like trying to stay on the beat of the current stories that are coming out, as opposed to just mocking stupid stories. Though Sargon does that too. It's not like you're pretty similar to Sargon in that way.
That's kind of how I originally got started, and then I took more inspiration from people like Razorfist and Mr. Medicare, and that's sort of how my channel has gotten to the point that it has.
I would have to watch more Razorfist, but I don't see you that similar to Mr. Medicare. He doesn't.
I'm just a fan of his. I'm just a fan of his, more or less.
Okay, yeah, you wish you were.
That's precisely accurate.
I love Mr. Medicare. I think he's so funny.
He's my second favorite YouTuber for sure.
Yeah, he's great. All right. Well, have a good night, and I'm gonna play some video games. Talk to you later.
Yeah, same here, man. You have a good night.
Bye.